Hey there, today I'm going to be showing you some freezer recipes that are really quick heat and eat meals. With these meals, you can quickly heat them up and have yourself a little snack or dinner, whatever you need it to be, right then and there without having to go out for fast food. These are 3 recipes that I have made recently to keep in the freezer for when we don't have time to cook dinner, but I hope you enjoy these recipes. First up today, we are making these easy frozen burritos, and me and my husband both love these so much. They're delicious. To begin, I'm going to go ahead and chop up 1 small onion into nice small pieces, and then over into a skillet, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I believe this was 85/15 ground beef. I'm going to go ahead and just get this chopped up in here and let it cook through with the onion. Don't forget, if you're looking for the ingredients and the specific amounts, I will have all that down below for you in the description box. Once your ground beef is done, you're going to go ahead and drain off any grease that is in the pan, and then you're going to add in a small can of tomato sauce, about 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning. You can make your own or use pre-made. And then this step is optional. I like to add this chipotle powder in here. Me and my husband just both love the flavor, and it gives it a little bit of spice. Go ahead and get that mixed together, and then you're going to turn off your heat and just let this sit and cool down. And once it has cooled down, you can start in on your beans. To begin working on the beans, I'm adding in 1 can of refried beans into this bowl, as well as 1 can of pinto beans. Make sure to drain and rinse your pinto beans really well before adding those in, and give this a really good stir to combine. Into a tortilla of your choice, I'm just using some low-carb tortillas just to keep the carbs a little lower in this. And I'm just going to add a spoonful of my bean mixture and spread that around. On top of that, I'm adding a pinch of Monterey Jack cheese, a small spoonful of my meat, and on top of that, I'm going to add a pinch of sharp cheddar. Go ahead and roll up your tortilla. You want to make sure that you get it as tight as possible without ripping the tortilla. You'll just fold over one side, kind of scoop it under a little bit, and then as you go, you'll fold in the sides to make sure everything is closed inside nice and tight. This recipe makes about 14 burritos if you split everything up pretty evenly. I did have 1 rip right there in the corner, but overall they did really well. And now I'm going to show you how I like to freeze these. So to prevent any freezer burn from happening, just in case these are in there for more than a week or 2, I will roll them up in some plastic wrap first, and then roll them up in some aluminum foil. That way they have double protection from the cold. I like to bag them up with 2 per bag, and then I just write on them what they are. So these are just some bean and beef burritos. This is what it'll look like once you warm it up. I like to put these in the microwave for 1 minute and 30 seconds, flip it over, and then add another 30 seconds after I've added some cheese on top. That extra 30 seconds will melt that cheese so beautifully on top, and then I just top it with some sour cream. Next up, we're going to make some individual pot pies. I love keeping these in the freezer. Of course, you could buy the cheap ones at the store, but the homemade ones are so much better. I started by chopping up 1 yellow onion and then also about 4 medium to large carrots. I did go ahead and peel those carrots first, and then you want to make sure you chop them up into nice small bite-sized pieces. Into a nice big pot, I'm adding about half a stick of butter in there. I am going to let that melt down, and I do use unsalted butter, but you can use salted if you'd like. Next, I'm adding in my carrots and my onion, followed by about a half cup of chopped celery. I do keep mine in the freezer, so mine was frozen, but I'd say there was probably close to about a half cup to 3/4 of a cup of celery. Now I'm going to go ahead and peel and cube up about 6 small yellow potatoes. That is all I had. Usually I use 2 bigger potatoes, but this worked out just fine. At this point, your carrots should be getting nice and tender, and you can go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of minced garlic and just let that cook for about a minute. Next, you'll want to add in about 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. You want to make sure you mix that around really good so that that flour absorbs any butter or liquid that is in your pan. And then I'm going to let this flour kind of cook out for about another minute or so. Now I'm adding in 4 cups of low sodium chicken broth. You do not have to use low sodium, it's just something I usually buy. And then I'm going to go in with my whisk and really combine that flour with the chicken broth. At this point, I am going to go ahead and add in my potatoes. Give that one more good stir, and then you're just going to let this go for a while. It is going to start to bubble and thicken up. And yes, the potatoes will still get soft in here, but you do need to keep a close eye on it because since it is getting thick, it could stick to the bottom really easily, so you want to make sure you're stirring it pretty often. For me, it usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes for my potatoes to become fork tender, but once they do, you can go ahead and add in 1 cup of frozen peas and about a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. For this recipe, I did cook up some chicken. I had 2 chicken breasts. I just cooked those right in the oven with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And then I chopped them up into nice small little cubes. For the seasonings, I'm using 2 teaspoons of thyme, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then just some salt and pepper to taste. After you get this all mixed together and everything is heated through, make sure you do taste it and adjust the seasonings to your liking. When you do mix this together, I do want to say make sure you are folding the mixture instead of just whipping it around because you will mash up your potatoes and you really don't want that to happen. You want your potatoes to stay in nice little cubes. To get started on our crust, I am using a bowl and a small plate here to help me measure out the size I need for these little aluminum pans. If I can, I'll link these pans for you. I like to use them just because I can throw them right away, so when I do make a freezer meal, it's nice and quick and easy and there is little to no cleanup. I use the bowl to help me measure out the top of my crust that's going to go on the very top once we're all done, and then I use the plate to help me create the bottom crust. So once I get my crust out, I will just kind of roll it out. I do not have a rolling pin, so I use this cup to help me do that. This is what the tops will look like, a nice small piece just like this. And then for the bottom piece, like I said, you're going to use a plate. And I just use my knife to cut that out around there, and it's the easiest way to do it in my opinion with the tools that I have. So once I get my pieces cut out, I am going to go back over them with the rolling pin or my cup and just kind of stretch them out just a little bit more. And then the bottom piece is going to go straight into your little pan. I just use my hands to make sure that it is all the way to the bottom and there are as little folds in it as possible. Now I'm adding my mixture in here and I'm going to fill it all the way to the top. This mixture does make enough for 3 small pies just like this, and I used the rest of it and put it in little crescent rolls, and we ate that for lunch one day. Here's the top piece. I just cut a little X in the top to create a small vent. And then since it's just me eating these and I'm not making these for anybody special, I'm just going to fold them over. They're not going to be cute, but that's okay. You can take the time to make them look nice if you really want to. But like I said, since it's just me, I just fold them over and make sure they're sealed. And that's all I really care about. Now to freeze these, I do like to use the Glad press and seal and then some heavy duty aluminum foil. First I go in with my Glad press and seal, and I like to use this because it has a sticky side and I really think that it really does help prevent freezer burn. So after I add the press and seal, I go back on with the aluminum foil and just do the same thing. Make sure you squeeze the edges really tight, that way they are safe in the freezer. And then there you go, you can just add those right into the freezer. I don't normally write on mine, but I did for this video. I like to bake them around 350, 30 minutes uncovered with foil, and then after 30 minutes I will recover them and let them continue baking. Here's what it looks like right before it goes into the oven. This is 100% frozen, and I do like to bake it on another pan that way, and just in case it drips or something, that pan is there to catch it. This is not the most beautiful photo, but I almost forgot to take a picture, and I had already broken it apart a little bit with my fork, so I kind of pieced it together to get this video. But you just want to make sure that the edges are nice and golden like that, and the bottom is all the way cooked, and then it's time to eat. Last but not least, we're making these chicken freezer burrito bowls. I didn't mean to have burritos and burrito bowls in the same video, but it just kind of happened to work out like that. Into my crock pot, I'm adding in 2 chicken breasts. I'm also adding in 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, 4 tablespoons of your favorite taco seasoning, about a half cup of low sodium chicken broth. I'm just going to sort of mix that seasoning up a little bit in that sauce and tomatoes, and then I'm also going to add in 1 cup of frozen corn, giving that another quick little mix, and then I'm going to set the lid on here and let this cook on a low heat for about 4 to 5 hours. This is what it should look like after that 4 to 5 hours. You're going to want to pull your chicken out and just shred that up into nice smaller pieces. Once you get your chicken added back in, you're going to also add in 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans. Go ahead and get that combined really well, and then I'm going to let this sit for just a little bit and cool down. That way when I scoop it into my little containers, it's not piping hot. I'm actually not going to link these containers for you just because I really don't like them. They crack so easily. They had really great reviews on Walmart's website, but I do not like them and I would not purchase them again. But I do use about 6 of these, and I'm going to evenly divide my chicken, bean, corn, and tomato mixture into all 6 of these. I also went ahead and cooked up 2 cups of white rice. You can make your rice however you want to. You can add seasonings to it. Honestly, I just added in plain, and it's good to go for me and my husband. We just mix it together once it's all done, add some sour cream and stuff, and then you just don't even notice that it's plain rice. Just like I did for the pot pies, I'm going to cover each one of these with a little bit of this press and seal, making sure to seal up the sides really tight with this. These containers did come with some nice little lids, so I do not use foil on these. I just add the lids right on top of the press and seal. When I do go to cook these, what I will do is remove the lid and the plastic. I'll defrost them in the microwave for about 2 minutes, and then I will cook them in the microwave for 2 minutes. Give it a stir and then cook them for another 2 minutes. And at that point, you can just go ahead and dump it onto a plate. After you dump it on your plate, it should be completely heated through, and then you can add any of your favorite toppings. For myself, I like to add lettuce, cheese, avocado, sour cream, cilantro. This is what I like to do. As you can see, this is plenty of food for a meal. You do not have to worry about being hungry or lacking in flavor. If you made it to the end of this video, you know it. Leave me a flower down in the comments. I love seeing who sticks through the whole video. It makes my heart so happy. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.